at the AES show on the Audionamix booth with Ellie, who's going to show us ADX, which does lots of spectral-based magic as far as I can see. So what's the deal?
All right, well, ADX is source separation technology. It is all based around the ability to identify a melody out of a mono or stereo track and separate it onto its own independent track, leaving the rest of the music on a separate track so that you have independent control of the two.
Cool.
All right, and this is ADX Tracks Pro. It is the one that has our integrated spectral editor to help with the cleanup process, and I'm going to show you guys an Aretha Franklin song that we have pulled up here. So the process is automatic to begin with. Once you load in a song, it's going to trace over the area where the melody is present and try to separate it on its own onto the vocal track right there, leaving the rest onto the music track. And after that point, if you missed a couple of different places, this is our automatic, you can go in and use very simple visual edit tools in order to point it towards any pitch lines that it may have missed. We also have some more advanced algorithms that may apply to specific types of mixes, including the ability to target short or long reverb tails that also works for delays, and a consonance boost algorithm that we always recommend if you're targeting vocals in particular because of all those hissy elements that are difficult to differentiate from the rest of the sonic landscape. If you're working on a stereo song, you can also point the algorithms to a specific part within the stereo field. But it also does work on monotunes, which is very unique to some software like this. And let's just take a listen and see how it did, shall we? So I'm going to play through the original mix first, and then I'll solo up the vocal, solo up the music, and then mess with the levels between the two. All right, so it gives you independent control. That is ADX Tracks Pro, and we also have a plugin version, which as of AES this year, is now available for both Windows and Mac, and also in all plugin formats. So that's our big thing. It's called VVC 2.0, and this will give you the same technology, but with the convenience of your DAW. So I'm going to show you how it works. Boom, boom. And we'll just open up an example that we have with us. There it is. Very nice. So this is our plugin. You can see it has a much simpler interface. It's meant to be a very easy tool to use. And what you do is throw this plugin, ADX VVC, onto any track in your session, and it's going to give you plus or minus 9 decibels of gain control of the melody within that track, as well as 60% to the left and the right. So I'm going to turn this guy up a little bit so we can hear it over the sounds of the conference, and I'll show you how this one works. So this is a song, Sunny.
Sunny, thank you for the sunshine you gave. Sunny, thank you for the love you brought my way. You're all in all, and now I feel 10 feet tall. Sunny, I love you.
So it might have been a little difficult to hear in that particular example with
That's pretty impressive. So what do you see the main applications?
Well, we always find that the applications are growing because it's a relatively new technology. We've only been out with our software for around 1.5 years. But in this particular case with ADX VVC, it's very good for broadcast. Instead of having to turn down an entire song, you can just automate the level of the vocal within that track and then talk over it. It's also good for re-recording mixing. If you need to balance dialogue with a cue that has very loud vocals, you can now go in and very easily turn those down. For ADX Tracks and ADX Tracks Pro, it's very good if you want to sample. And if you're into sampling, then instead of just having the time edits, you can also go in and get a certain element from within a mix to use in your samples. It's good for remixing if you want to use a vocal isolation. We've done a lot of projects in the past with Verve, and they hired us to isolate vocals for them to do the First Ladies Remix project and things along that line. And I find that it's actually a really good tool in the studio as well if you're into live recordings. I use it to reduce bleed. So if you've tracked and you have multiple instruments in the same room, you can use the pitch guide of a single track and then push that against, as a fingerprint against the other ones to remove that element and have more control over your isolated tracks.
That sounds very useful. Now I guess this is optimized for vocals. Does it work on any other sound source?
It does. It is optimized for vocals, so it's going to work on any monophonic melody that is serving the purpose of a vocal within a song. So if you've got a lead instrument like a guitar or a saxophone, it's going to excel. If you're trying to get bass, you're probably going to have to do a little bit more work, in particular pointing the algorithm towards the lower frequencies in the frequency spectrum. But actually, I've got an example. I'll show you. It is a guitar solo. We have it with us, just so you can hear how it works with that. Okay, let's see if we can push up the volume a little bit here. So this is a Pink Floyd guitar solo. I'll play the original and then I'll solo up the guitar that was isolated using ADX Trax Pro. Thank you.
So, when is it available and how much does it cost?
Very nice. They are all available right now.
Okay.
So ADX Trax Pro, which is our most advanced software with the spectral editor, retails for $499. We're also running a promotion right now for 35% off with ADX 35.
Yeah.
You can also do a subscription service. So I like to think of that as a project-based service because you can pay for a month and use it. And for a month of ADX Trax Pro, it is $32.99. For our flagship software, which is ADX Trax, minus the spectral editing, that retails for $299, or you can get a month of it for $19.99. And lastly, ADX VVC retails for $249, or you can rent it by the week for $8. So that's it.
Sounds great. Thanks, Ellie.
Thank you very much, Paul.